Welcome to Reread. Today I'm talking about Emissaries of the Void by Craig Keyes. This was a 6-part short story series that first appeared in The Gamer and then ended up finishing off in The Insider. I have talked about this before. This time, it's been a while since I've reread it. It's about Ulder, basically focusing on him. He comes into contact with a Jedi, Klin Fa, and they go on this adventure. Now, Klin Fa is a weird mystery. At first she tells Ulder she's on a secret mission by Luke Skywalker, but then later on it turns out she wasn't on a secret mission at all. She lied. Now this is for a cliffhanger, I think, in like the 3rd story arc, because she kind of leaves Ulder high and dry, like sabotages his ship and takes off in an A-wing. And Ulder and his crew believe that she is a dark Jedi. It turns out she's not, but that I'm kind of messing all this up now, but she's trying to save, she and 2 other Jedi got captured by the Vong on purpose, like Worth Skidder style, trying to infiltrate the Vong. And they all came out, well, one of them died, the one that she was in love with, Bay, which Ulder thinks that she's in love with Bay, but she's not. But Bay ends up in love with her, and Bay also ends up to being the traitor, but he didn't get transformed by the Vong. He did it because he was in love with Klin Fa, and Klin Fa didn't love him, so he turned to the dark side. I don't know. Got a little confusing there at the end. But they're trying to, the Vong, with the help of Bay, for some unaltered reason, he just wants to help the Vong destroy life because someone doesn't love him. I don't understand that storyline. It kind of fell flat at that point for me. But Bay, they're trying to contaminate the Bacta crops, so Bacta will be poison to everyone. And the Vong obviously shape him into something. They give him the poison gas that leaks out from his spores that were given to him by the Vong. Again, Bay's story about why he's the traitor comes in at the very end of the storyline here, and it doesn't make sense. Like, I could not remember anything. I knew the story was about Ulder and everything, and I remember a few bits and pieces, but really forgot most of this story. At the end, for some reason, Klin Fa falls in love with Ulder, which we're not exactly sure why, because, I mean, even though it's in 6 parts, you really don't feel like there's some, like there's a love interest going. I mean, Ulder kind of likes her a little bit, but they don't really touch on that much. It's kind of weird. And then Ulder, he has a crew. Now, this takes place during Greg Keyes' duology. I totally forgot about this. I thought it took place way after, but it takes place during it. Like, at the end, they're coming in to certain events during Rebirth. I mean, it happens right around the end of Rebirth, too, is where the storyline finishes up. So all these events happen during Greg Keyes' books. When did Ulder get a crew? He has a crew, Leeft and, what's the other guy's name? Vuk, I think, a Doro and a Doug. And they're great. Both of them are great characters. They're really funny. They add to the comedy that Greg Keyes is known for. He has a lot of comedic moments with both these. Both these characters are really good. The Doros is kind of angry because the Vong destroyed his planet. He's kind of going through the process of grief here because there was I love this story. There was an old tree that he always used to hang out with, and it's a very famous tree on Doros, but it's gone now thanks to the Vong, and it'll never be the same. He can never go back to his childhood. That's some great stuff. The crew was great too, but the whole time I'm thinking, where was the crew in the books? Because in the books, it just sounded like Ulder was traveling the galaxy with someone who turned out to be from the Peace Brigade. And even though Ulder mentions that story, it's not like he was part of their crew full time, because I guess no one talks about him. If you had a crewman that would turn out to be a traitor after so many years or whatnot you've been running with him, or even months, you think the rest of the crew would be talking about that, or still hurting over that betrayal and not wanting to trust anyone. I don't know. I don't want to be too picky about the story, because for the most part I did enjoy it up to the end when I got really confused. They kill Vong in this, which I'm fine with. There's a lot of stuff that goes on here it's a lot of fun. Like I said, some good moments. One of my favorite moments. By the way, Ulder now has the Force. He doesn't use the Force, but he can feel the bad presence and good things through the Force. He can feel like there's evil. And I was thinking, wait a minute, he has 0 Force power. Now Greg Keyes addresses this at the very, very end. It almost seems like it was tacked on at the very end because fans were questioning him over the months this story took to come out. Everyone was going, wait a minute, Ulder never had the Force. So it sounds like, I would not be surprised if Greg Keyes went back in, because they all read the forums back then. He probably went back and he adds just a little, not chapter, but a few paragraphs where Older talks to Luke at the end. Luke goes, you know what? Master Eric was right. You do have the Force in you. I didn't see it back during the academy. I thought you were forceless. Or he didn't say that, but he says, you have an affinity toward the Force. You can't use it, you can't manipulate it, but you can definitely sense it. And when he accepted his, he's not going to be a Jedi, that's when he started getting this luck. And this luck we were never told about in Junior Jedi Knights. This luck came about in Greg Keyes' book, where Older is always lucky using the Force. The Force kind of guides him along the way. And I don't mind this, but he ends up killing Bay. Bay is about to kill Klin Fa as they're getting in a lightsaber battle, and Older throws the lightsaber and misses, which I thought was funny. It bounces off a tree, though, and it takes a weird bounce, and the blade actually slices Bay, I think it says from shoulder to hip, and Bay just kind of, and he kind of looks at Older like, no, that did not just happen. You did not just kill me. And then he just falls apart. And I love that. I love that aspect of him. But the thing is, though, that he has this affinity toward the Force. He can't control it, but he does have a little bit of Force in him. And that's what Master Eric always said about you. And I was thinking, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. It was better when Older did not have any. He was zero. He had zero lack of Force abilities. I like that better. Now, Greg Keyes wants to make Older a better character. I'm positive he read the Junior Jedi Knight series, so he wanted to give Older a little bit something. He felt like, man, Older got gypped at the end of this storyline. Let's give him a little bit of affinity toward the Force, which is what he does in this, which I'm fine with, but at the same time, I did not think that was necessary. This is so weird because there's good stuff, there's bad stuff on this one. I don't know. I'm up in the air on this. Yeah, I think you should read it, especially like Greg Keyes. Like I said, the Doug Leeft, I think is his name, and Vuk, I think was Doris. I didn't write their names down, but I just read it, so I think those are the names. They're great characters. They're great characters, and definitely will keep you engaged the whole time. There's some great moments in this, too. They go to Wayland, the Emperor's secrets. This is kind of a tired-out MacGuffin at this point in the EU for me, because yes, Wayland is where the mountain inside is where the Emperor kept all his dastardly, secret ideas or uncompleted ideas. And whenever you need a MacGuffin for a plot line, you just go to Wayland. Not everyone does that, but it seemed to be like, hey, where can I get a big bad project and tie the Emperor into this? Oh, Wayland again, Reading through it chronologically, I'm like, oh, we've done this before. It was interesting, I would say, maybe the last time for Junior Jedi Knights, or Young Jedi Knights, excuse me, when Kevin J. Anderson did it. Other than that, though, I think we're done with, I don't think they ever go back to Wayland, thank goodness, but that kept being part of the storyline was kind of weak. The ending, very weak. Bay's story does not make any bit of sense, any lick of sense. The romance seemed kind of forced at the end. But other than that, it's so weird. It's really fun. I did enjoy reading the story. It was just the last act that really just got me confused. So overall, and sadly, this hasn't been reprinted. I thought it had. I thought it had come out since then, but the two reprints, I think, for Star Wars Insider Shorts did not carry any of Greg Key's stuff, which is just a shame. It's a shame. They should make a volume, whatever number they're on, 3, and just include it. Because Emissaries of the Void is definitely worth your time. Maybe you can find it online and read it that way. I couldn't. I tried looking, but I don't know of everywhere to look for these. But I'm sure someone's got a digital copy. And is it necessary to read in the overall storyline? No, it's not necessary. It's not necessary at all. And it's not the best thing in the world. Like I said, there's some good stuff in it, and then there's just some stuff in it. But overall, I enjoyed it. Of course, it's New Geo Order. I can't wait to get to the big book next time.